ગુજરાતી, ત્યાં ત્યાં વસે ગુજરાત. હે જ્યાં જ્યાં વસે ગુજરાતી, ત્યાં ત્યાં વસે ગુજરાત. અમે ગુજરાતી લહેરીલા, દિલમાં ક્રિકેટ દિન રાત. ખરા ક્રિકેટના રસિક છો તો ક્રિકેટ કેરી વાત જાણીએ. ચોકા છક્કાની ગુગલી જોઈએ, હાલો વર્લ્ડ કપની મજા માણીએ. આ છે ક્રિકેટ ખીચડી, ચાલો રમીએ થોડી. સવાલોના બાઉન્સર, જવાબોની સિક્સર. આ ક્રિકેટ ખીચડી, ચાલો રમીએ થોડી. સવાલોના બાઉન્સર, જવાબોની સિક્સર. કોની બેટિંગની ખુમારી, કોની બોલિંગ વખાણું. જબરા કે ચિસ વિન મેચિસ, સ્ટમ્પ આઉટમાં કોણ ફસાણું. હોય જો તને ક્રિકેટનો હીરો, તો આવ સાથે કોમેન્ટ્રી કરીએ. બનાવી આ ક્રિકેટની ખીચડી, સ્વાદથી એની મજા માણીએ. આ છે ક્રિકેટ ખીચડી, ચાલો રમીએ થોડી. સવાલોના બાઉન્સર, જવાબોની સિક્સર. આ ક્રિકેટ ખીચડી, ચાલો રમીએ થોડી. સવાલોના બાઉન્સર, જવાબોની સિક્સર.
અમેરિકાની અંદર ક્રિકેટના જે રસિકો અને પ્રેમીઓ છે એમાંથી ભાગ્યે જ એવું કોઈ હશે જેણે જતીન પટેલનું નામ સાંભળ્યું નહીં હોય. જતીન પટેલ એ પ્રખ્યાત મલ્ટી સ્પોર્ટ કોચ, મેન્ટોર અને પ્રોફેશનલ સ્પોર્ટ પરફોર્મન્સ એનાલિસ્ટ છે. ક્રિકેટ અને સોકરમાં એમણે કોચિંગ 3 દાયકાથી ચાલુ રાખ્યું છે અને અમેરિકાની અંદર યુએસએ ક્રિકેટમાં ઘણી બધી એડમિનિસ્ટ્રેટિવ રિસ્પોન્સિબિલિટીઝ પણ એમણે સંભાળી છે. ક્રિકેટ ખીચડીના એક કો ફાઉન્ડર છે અને આ શોના પેનલિસ્ટ પણ છે. જતીન પટેલ.
ડૉક્ટર નિલેશ ડી મહેતા શિકાગોમાં મેડિસિન વિભાગના પ્રોફેસર અને છેલ્લા 30 વર્ષથી કેન્સરના નિષ્ણાત ડૉક્ટર છે. તે વડોદરાના વતની છે, પણ ક્રિકેટમાં તેમનો જુસ્સો હંમેશા રહ્યો છે. આઈસીસીના પ્રમાણિત ક્રિકેટ સંવાદદાતા તરીકે તેમણે 10 વર્ષથી વધુ સમયથી હાઈ ઇન્ડિયા પ્રકાશન માટે આઈસીસીની ઇન્ટરનેશનલ ટુર્નામેન્ટ્સ કવરેજ કરી છે. 2013માં તેઓ યુએસએના કેરમ ડબલ્સના નેશનલ ચેમ્પિયન પણ હતા. તેમના કેટલાક લેખો સ્પોર્ટ્સ સ્ટારમાં પ્રકાશિત થયા છે. તે આઈપીએલનું એનાલિસિસ અને ક્રિકેટ 360 માટે ઇન્ટરવ્યૂ પણ કરે છે.
અર્ચન મહેતા કેલિફોર્નિયામાં એન્જિનિયર છે અને 3 માસ્ટર્સની ડિગ્રી મેળવી ચૂક્યા છે. છેલ્લા 20 વર્ષોથી એન્જિનિયરિંગના ફિલ્ડમાં એમણે કન્ઝ્યુમર ઇલેક્ટ્રોનિક્સ અને ટેકનોલોજી કંપનીઝમાં કામ કર્યું છે. એન્જિનિયરિંગ સિવાય અર્ચનને બીજા પણ ઘણા બધા શોખ છે, જેમ કે સિંગિંગ, ડ્રામેટિક આર્ટ્સ અને મ્યુઝિક. વડોદરાના વતની છે ઓરિજિનલી અને હવે કેલિફોર્નિયામાં સ્થાયી થયેલા છે. ક્રિકેટનો શોખ એમને નાનપણથી હતો અને હજી પણ છે. ગરબામાં પણ એમને પુષ્કળ રસ છે. ક્રિકેટ 360 નામના પોડકાસ્ટમાં એ લીડ પેનલિસ્ટ પણ છે અને હાલમાં એમણે યુએસએ ક્રિકેટ અમ્પાયરિંગ લેવલ 1નું સર્ટિફિકેશન પણ મેળવ્યું છે. અર્ચન મહેતા. ક્રિકેટ ખીચડીમાં આપ સૌનું હાર્દિક સ્વાગત છે. જો ક્રિકેટની એક યુનિવર્સિટી હોત તો એમાં હિસ્ટ્રીનો ટીચર હોત, જિયોગ્રાફીનો ટીચર હોત, રિસર્ચનો ટીચર હોત, પણ આપણી જોડે આજે ભાઈ જોડાયા છે, જયરાજ ગાલાગલી. એ જયરાજભાઈ જે છે ને, એ જયરાજભાઈ એ ક્રિકેટના હિસ્ટોરિયન છે. એમની પોતાની યુટ્યુબ ચેનલ છે અને એમણે એટલી બધી રિસર્ચ કરી છે સાહેબ ક્રિકેટ માટે. અને એમની પાસે આપણે એ બધી વાર્તા જાણવાની છે. જયરાજભાઈ, આપકા
नमस्कार किम छे
મજામાં
Nilesh bhai, माफ
વેલકમ ટુ
करता हूँ.
ક્રિકેટ ખીચડી.
Thank you very much for having me on your show. हर गुजराती नहीं बोल सकते, so please excuse me. I will
અમારી
speak in.
અમારી ગુજરાતી પબ્લિક એવી છે જયરાજભાઈ કે એમને બધી ભાષાઓ આવડે છે અને ઘણી બધી ભાષાઓનું તો અમે ખૂન પણ કરતા હોઈએ છીએ. વી મર્ડર અ લોટ ઓફ લેંગ્વેજીસ ઓલ્સો, લાઈક સ્પીકિંગ હિન્દી. Hindi
Correct.
becomes Hindi plus Gujarati. It becomes Hingrati. So, doesn't matter. I think the idea of the podcast is for people to learn about
Right.
Jai, about his career, and to what extremes Jai went to dig up the archives of the cricket history. So, please take us back to your days and how did that rekindle the interest
Yep.
of that archival cricket in you?
Right. Yeah. I for those who don't know, most of people who are watching this probably might not have heard about me. I'm just like a regular guy. I am a software engineer in the Silicon Valley, and the story when it comes to how I turned into a cricket archivist has a very painful moment in my. It happened at a very painful moment in my life. 4 or 5 years back, my beloved, the person who, my life partner, my wife, she was diagnosed with a very aggressive, very rare type of disorder, myeloma. And that moment when we heard about the diagnosis, how shall I put it? Marut Vishwa, I think my world kind of shattered. That's the kind of feeling I got. It was a very, very tumultuous time for us. When something like that happens, it can happen in anyone's life, by the way. It affects not only the person who is going through, but also her or his loved ones in the family. And my wife, to give her credit, she exhibited enormous strength. And my strength came from her strength primarily. And she is a meditator. She is a Vipassana style meditator, Buddhist, and that's another, like, what can I say? That can be another podcast. So I leave it there. But then, as I don't want to use the word caretaker, but I want to say, as her rock, how I dealt with that is. It wasn't easy at all, by no means easy, but then we somehow sailed through it. There's a lot of things which happen, the bone marrow transplant, the chemotherapies, the dozens of trips to the oncologists and etc. At that time, during those moments, it is so vital to have a sense of sanity for the remaining family members, for the friends and for the loved ones. And I was thinking, main kya karu abhi? On one hand, I should show strength. I cannot show weakness. I cannot crumble. I cannot be like showing my true inner insecurities. Outwardly, I had to put up a brave front, but inwardly, I have to somehow muster my center, my strength, so as to give her support, continue to give her love. How did I do that? Kya hai? There is this thing about childhood trauma, bolta hai. Antrika, balaka, whatever trauma a child would have experienced while growing up. There's so much. आपने बहुत शायद मूवी, टीवी सीरीज देखा होगा कि चाइल्डहुड ट्रॉमा के ऊपर बहुत स्टोरी बिल्डअप होता है, लेकिन मेरे केस में चाइल्डहुड ट्रॉमा नहीं है, चाइल्डहुड का बहुत प्यारा मेमोरीज थे. सो मेरा क्या हुआ उन दिनों में, आई जस्ट वांटेड टू बी दैट Jairaj, not the one who was going through all the middle-age trauma, but I wanted to transform myself to the childhood version of mine. At that point of time, I was a very happy kid, like many of you, receiving so much of love and care and warmth from everybody else. So a part of my mind wanted to just leave this world and escape, become that kid again. It's a mental it's a mental simulation. How do I do that? So a lot of us sing old songs. That's the reason it brings a package of memories. We watch old movies because it comes with a bundle of sweet associations. It would remind us of all the people who used to adore us, who may no longer be with us. So like that, I am a 1970s kid. So I started incessantly watching Hindi movies, Kannada movies of belonging to that era.
Kamal
So
Palekar.
other than, yeah, Nilesh, you can also elaborate, right? When we were children, tell us like what were the one or two things that we could fall back on for excitement, right? One
Right.
was movies, other was cricket.
Cricket.
Cricket, yes, obviously.
And if it
So
was not cricket, then you play Gilli Danda or
Gilli Danda and everything.
Lakhoti or,
Correct.
Athad
Yeah,
Billas or whatever other
correct. Yeah,
made up sports, which are not
Yeah.
Olympic sports, but we
correct.
would try and excel in those. But
Correct.
yes, please continue.
So I wanted to be that kid again. And then in our days, there was obviously no internet, no Facebook, nothing. And our sole media of connection, of friendship, of gossip was whatever we could read from the newspaper headlines or the magazines. हमारे क्रिकेट का आइडल्स जो भी होते हैं उनके चेहरे वो इसमें देख देख के उसके बारे में ये बात करना इसमें that used to be our world really. And then there is another thing. Back in those days, before these TVs came, when we watched movies, the theaters were required to show a 10-minute newsreel. Matlab, it's produced by the government of India, and the government of India would send its crew all over and take tidbits of some significant happening. It could be the ribbon cutting of a dam, or it could be like flood in Bihar, or it could be whatever. And then if there is a sports being played, they would send their cameramen to cover the sports. And if you're lucky enough, you would be able to watch suddenly on the big screen our childhood idols, like on a movie theater. And that used to be such a beautiful moment. And oftentimes we used to put up with a crappy movie just for the sake of watching that our childhood heroes in life size on the cinema screen. So मेरे को वो याद था. Then I said, कहाँ है भाई? When I told you I was trying to go back and be the version of my kid Jay. The kid Jay said to the adult Jay, अरे तुम बड़ा जय, मेरे साथ खेलना है तो वो कहाँ है जो मैं वो देख देख के बड़ा हुआ था, वो किधर है, वो ढूंढ के निकालो. Only then you can play with me.
Right.
Then I said, Arey Baba, I want to play with the kid Jay, and he's asking this the movies that he grew up with. मैं क्या करूं? So then that became my mission, my purpose. Chalo, let me do something about it. I knew it must be somewhere, and there is no record, there's no website, there's nothing. All I knew was it was produced by Films Division of India. It's a Government of India Information and Broadcasting Department. So मैं गया और phone किया, tried to go to that very, very lousy website back then, and I tried to, nothing was available. So I wouldn't give up. I made several dozens of calls, to the extent that even blacklisted my number. When they would see my number, they wouldn't answer, but I did not give up. मैं जाके finally I located a department which has the archival collection. They didn't have anything. They didn't have an index. They didn't have, nothing was searchable. I managed to get their PDF file. It was a thick file. And then it has records of, record matlab contents of क्या newsreel में कौन सी तरह content है. It's not searchable on computer. जाके just there are like 12,000 newsreels, 12 or now even 15. And then tantamount to, just like you run your fingers in a telephone directory to look up the number that you want, like that I scroll through the contents, and wherever there is any mention of cricket, I managed to go back, trace the Indian news reel number, made an Excel spreadsheet, record from 12,000 newsreels, I distilled it down to about 200 DVDs.
क्या बात है, वाह वाह.
मेरे को ये चाहिए. वो बोलता है क्या है इसमें? अरे यार मेरे को दे दो, तुम पैसा भरना है तो भरेंगे. It's all, everything I did legal, nothing was like under the table. So then उसका INB ministry का बहुत ही laborious bureaucratic process होता है. I sent them this online payment. अरे मैं ऑनलाइन पेमेंट दिया ना, काय को देर कर रहे? वो बोलता है नहीं साहब ऐसा नहीं, ऑनलाइन पेमेंट तो दिया, लेकिन मेरे को एक वो प्यून को बैंक को जाके देखना पड़ेगा आपका पैसा भरा हुआ है नहीं.
Oh,
And then they would come back, and after a long wait, frustratingly long wait, finally I got a few news reels, and then I posted it in 2016. And then I forgot why did I post it, because I wanted to share with friends like Nilesh and a few others. Hey, dekho. To my surprise, 1 year later, I found one or two newsreels I had posted the film. Like that was like India-England match, I think. Like Chennai and Kanpur had more than 1 million views. I said, this is crazy.
wow.
And then I said, then there is some. Then I got every footage of every cricket match. I repeat, footage of every cricket match that was ever filmed by Government of India
Wow.
during the years 1948 until 1983. Why 1983? After 1983, TVs became popular. So there was no longer a need for Government of India crew to go around and cover stuff. So during that period, whatever cricket footage Government of India had captured, I managed to get it. It came to my home. एक डब्बा में आया, बड़ा डब्बा. And then I held that thing. मैंने क्या किया? I went to Kalpana's puja room, and then with folded hands, I teared up. I teared up because I was literally holding the treasure trove of India's rich cricketing history.
क्या बात है. तो भगवान का प्रसाद मतलब होगा.
भगवान का प्रसाद. मेरे पास वो फोटो है. आई डिड नॉट रप करके ओपन नहीं किया. मैं सीधा जाके पूजा रूम में
बराबर है.
रख के उसको नमस्कार करके मेरा आंख में आंसू आए.
क्या बात है.
And I kid you not, I doubt whether anyone else even today has this collection in one box.
I very much doubt it.
Which I have. And then मेरे को देखा 1948 कॉमनवेल्थ करके एक टीम आए थे. एंड उसके बाद 52 में इंडिया का वेरी फर्स्ट विक्ट्री अगेंस्ट इंग्लैंड. आई हैड दैट 1 minute क्लिप. 52 में इंडिया पाकिस्तान फर्स्ट सीरीज, इंडियाज विक्ट्री. The very first match was inaugurated by Babu Rajendra Prasad Ribbon. He's actually shaking hands with the Indian team and Pakistan. I had that footage. And then right from in fact, I have footage where every prime minister back in those days, they used to go to Firoz Shah Kotla and watch the game for some time. I have Babu Rajendra Prasad, Nehru, Lal Bahadur Shastri, Indira Gandhi, of course. Then so many matches Indira Gandhi has watched. And I have newsreel में पूरा उनके पूरे हैं. So then आया मेरे पास. then मैं देखा ये क्या करूं मैं. अरे ऐसा ही लगा दिया तो लोग को सोचेंगे एक है क्या यार. So because lot of them don't have soundtrack. मैंने बोला क्या करूं मैं. विजय लोकपल्ली, you also know. विजय बोला अरे तुम लगाओ यार कमेंट्री. मैं कैसे लगाऊं. I am not an expert. I am not like Harsha Bogle or Suresh or anyone. So I had to be like a startup history student of cricket. I got history books. Then किसी footage में no commentaries, it's like silent as a tomb. I had to add the sound effects. Then I need to know what's going on. So I went to Stanford University Library. Then I would go to Berkeley University of Berkeley Library, spend my weekends, hours together, digging out Times of India chronicles, Times of India history. What was the coverage back then? I made notes, or come back, write a script, and then add my commentary over sound effects. There are like several of those. 1980 ka, the Golden Jubilee match, silent as a tomb. And then that is not enough. My target audience is not like Nilesh or not like anyone from my era. My target audience are the millennial kids or the Gen Z kids. I wanted to inculcate in them a sense of curiosity about our cricket history. So I had to give a elevator pitch context. I cannot take too long. I have to respect people's time. That is another challenge. I need to write a script to make it, to give the context interesting enough for people to become curious about the footage. And that was the challenge that I absolutely loved, because it's very hard to write a script, which I would and record myself, and I would produce each of those. There are so many of them you can watch in the Jairaj Galagali channel. That's why did I do that? That's what I did.
Before you continue, can you please share with our Cricket Khichdi audience the exact name of your YouTube channel, please?
Yeah, you can look it up. Jairaj Galagali, Jaigagali, Jairaj Galagali. You can look it up. And then I have posted maybe about 50, 60 uploads, and covering from 1950 to 48 all the way until 1983 the Kapil Dev and team were greeted, had a reception where with Indira Gandhi, you will see the entire the World Cup team, Srikanth, Kapil, everyone shaking hands with Indira Gandhi. That is the one I posted in 2020. Wow. And nobody had ever, they did not even know that existed. Then I have posted, I dug out of discovered debut matches of Kon, Chandrasekhar, Yes Chandrasekhar, Gundappa Vishwanath, then this guy, Clive Lloyd, Richards, Vivian Richards, and Venkat Raghavan, many of them. And then also, pretty much, the Vishwanath, 75 or 76, West Indies 97 not out. Although we don't have too many runs, but we do have the coverage. Brilliant. And I said, this is like crazy. And I didn't know that what struck me was even the players did not know that their footage existed. And then I said, this is crazy. But
आपको कितना प्लेयर का फोन आया कि भाई जय, thank you for making us relive those moments?
Yeah, that you asked a very beautiful question. Honestly, Nilesh, I don't care about the players. Kapil Dev, matlab great men, Vishwanath, I love Vishwanath, I love Chandra, but they have all moved on. They have become other people, and to thank them because they have given us beautiful memories. And if you really ask me what motivates me, it's because my channel has more than 30,000 subscribers. I'm not taking pride in that number because I get...
No, but it is important. It is important.
It is, yeah. I get comments from people unknown to me. Karke, you just look at a few comments. Arey bhai, kya kiya? I just lived those moments. You made me live those child moments. I have watched this and I cannot thank you enough and so forth. There is one famous economist in India who wrote on Twitter saying that, look, his sister apparently saw herself in one of the matches, and sadly she couldn't make it. She died of cancer, and he told me that while she was going through chemotherapy, she would endlessly watch my channel, and that gave her enormous comfort. And another story I want to tell is there was a kid around 17, 18. He somehow found my number and said, he called me Jay uncle. I said, kya bolo? मेरे को आपसे बात करना है. क्यों? अरे यार बात करना है. ठीक है. He called me on WhatsApp. I said, I can't know how to thank. The entire family wants to thank you. Why? Because his grandfather in his 80s, his dementia, is like suffering from loss of memory and everything. And then it so happened that he watched his grandson watching this, and suddenly a good amount of his recollection came back. He remembered, because the footage was at a time when he was like a kid of 15 or 16. He remembered his grandparents, he remembered his mama, mommy, so many people. Yeah. And suddenly he became like a child, and for that expression of him is like, we are like so much indebted and all that stuff. But that is what gives me the spiritual fuel for me to continue with the rest of my work.
Jay,
and then it's a...
Yeah, sorry, continue. Go ahead.
No, the other thing I want to highlight is this is a non-profit work. मेरे को इससे मोनेटाइज नहीं करने का, क्योंकि वो फुटेज का कॉपीराइट मेरा नहीं है. एंड इमीडिएटली आई वांट टू हेजन टू ऐड, क्या हुआ, वो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया से, ऑल्दो लीगली आई प्रोक्यूर्ड इट, विद इन मंथ्स माय चैनल वाज स्ट्रक डाउन बिकॉज गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया स्लैम्ड ए कॉपीराइट वायलेशन एक्ट. सॉरी, कॉपीराइट वायलेशन मतलब यू आर वायलेटिंग योर कॉपीराइट. अरे क्या, आई एम फर्दरिंग योर कॉज, मैंने लिखा. All I'm doing is I'm making whatever was meant for the public back to the public. I'm not making even a paisa. If you allow me, give your monetary handle, let all the ad revenues go to you, I'm fine. They did not even read my email. So finally, the great Shashi Tharoor came to my rescue, and I have also talked to him, interviewed him, and he went for tooth and nail with the bureaucrats, with the cabinet minister. It went all the way to the Prakash Javadekar cabinet minister. Eventually, they lifted the copyright ban on it, and it came back, and that's another big moment. So it's a story like this, but I want to go back and tell you that why did this happen? This happened because this adult, grown-up Jay wanted to be the kid Jay again, because he wanted to find some mental respite while dealing through a family crisis, and then out of that, all this happened. In some ways, if this crisis had not happened, I'm pretty much sure we would never have seen any of this footage.
આમાં એટલે સાંભળવાની વાત એ છે, ક્રિકેટ ખીચડીના બધા આપણા બધા ફેન્સ કે એક વ્યક્તિને એના કુટુંબમાં એક મેડિકલ ઇમરજન્સી આવી જાય છે અને એને કેવી રીતે ડીલ કરવું, એને કેવી રીતે આપણે સારી રીતે હેન્ડલ કરીએ. એટલે આપણે ઇંગ્લિશમાં એક વર્ડ છે કથાર્સિસ, એટલે કે
Catharsis, yeah.
રિલીઝ ફિનોમિના.
Yeah,
કે
exactly.
આપણા મનમાં એક પ્રેશર કુકર ચાલી રહ્યું છે, એની સીટી ક્યાં છે, એ સીટીને ખોલવા માટે
Vito.
જયભાઈએ જે આ એક રોડ અપનાવ્યો એમની જિંદગીમાં,
Thank you.
the
You are very
way
kind, man.
Jay has selected that pathway for his release phenomena to deal with that family calamity is absolutely amazing. Young kids, young people who are listening to this particular broadcast of Cricket Khichdi, I think if you go and get anything out of it, the most important thing is the commitment of this young man, Jay Galagali.
Oh, I think-
Secondly, the amount of research that he has done. He spent countless hours, went through so much frustration, so much bureaucracy, but he stood his ground. There were so many appeals for leg before, but no, they were all coming from outside the leg stump. And Jay continued to bat exceedingly well, and even today he continues to bat so well. Jay, of all the footages that you have collected over the last so many years, can you tell us one or two that really are extremely close to your heart, that stand out?
I have several, Nilesh. How do I say? Depends on what the kids also would value. My favorites are the ones which were the turning points in India's cricketing history and which were memorable for so many reasons. My favorite, 1952, India's first ever victory against England. That was a marvelous moment, and to defeat England, the very country which had ruled us for more than 300 years, it was a humongous moment for us, humongous matter of pride. And that was 1 minute clip of a tomb-like silent movie.
Wow.
And मेरे को उसमें इतना जान डाला, कैसे डाला, मैं वही किया, वो पूरा रिसर्च करके, न्यूज़पेपर अखबार पढ़ के, that very day when the cricket match began, the king of England died, apparently, King George. And the next day they preponed a rest day, and the second day the players wore black bands, every one of them, to mark whatever it was. Then I saw, look, black bands. More importantly, I was able to talk to the lone survivor from that team, C.D. Gopinath, who is
Wow.
probably pushing his 90s, who lives in Chennai. And I talked to him. He was so delighted to watch the footage of his team playing. And my other quite a few favorites, Subhash Gupte. Subhash Gupte is an enigma. It's like people have not seen him, but I've only heard him. And Prasanna and Gary Sobers, and they all like rave. Many consider Gupte as even better bowler than this guy. Who's this guy who passed away recently? The Australian spinner.
Shane Warne.
Shane Warne ke say badhiya, there is an opinion. And then I was able to find Subhash Gupte's actual original footage. And I managed to get it.
So talking about Subhash Gupte, I was in Trinidad, and as most people would know, Subhash Gupte got married to a Trinidadian.
Correct.
And Subhash Gupte નું સાસરું આપણે કહીએ, in-laws એ ટ્રિનિડાડના આઇલેન્ડમાંથી છે, જે વેસ્ટ ઇન્ડિઝમાં આવી છે. અને હવે જયભાઈ જોડે તો આપણે ઘણી બધી વાતો કરી શકીએ, પણ આ જયભાઈને પ્રોગ્રામમાં લાવવાનું મેઇન કારણ એ કે આપણને છોકરાઓને, પેરેન્ટ્સને એક પ્રોત્સાહન મળે, એક પ્રેરણા મળે રિસર્ચ કરવાની. કે તમને એમ કે તમે રિસર્ચ કરવા માંડ્યા અને તમને એમ કે તમે નાસીપાસ થાઓ, તમે ગીવ અપ કરી દો, એવું ના ચાલે. જયભાઈએ શું કર્યું કે છેલ્લે સુધી બરાબર એમણે ચોટલી પકડીને જે કામ કર્યું છે અને જે એમનું કમિટમેન્ટ હતું એ તો ધન્ય છે. What I just said briefly in Gujarati is કે your commitment to this cause is commendable, to say the least, and the extent to which you went is like, Jay, hats off.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Nilesh.
I certainly થેન્ક યુ ફોર જોઈનિંગ અસ ઓન ક્રિકેટ ખીચડી. ક્રિકેટ ખીચડી તમને લોકોને આ બધા શ્રોતાઓને આ પ્રોગ્રામ ગમ્યો હશે અને આ સાથે હું જયભાઈને થેન્ક યુ કહું છું અને
Thank you, Nilesh. I should thank you too.
થેન્ક યુ. આ પ્રોગ્રામ બંધ કરીએ.
Very nice, Nilesh. Awesome.
થેન્ક યુ જયભાઈ.